Coming up on today's show, I get to pick the brains of a true Tesla expert. Just how did Brian White of Futurizer get into Tesla? Why is there such global Tesla fandom? We discuss the next growth of AI and robotics within the company, and what question did I ask to get this response?
My gosh, the problem is, I don't know.
Let's find out more about the life of Brian.
Welcome, ladies and gents, to St. George in Utah. And I'm meeting up with my good buddy, Brian from Futurizer. How wonderful to be here in the flesh and speak to you, rather than the two-dimensional version I get on screen with you every now and again. But I want to know a bit more about how on earth you got into Tesla in the first place. I saw My Tesla Weekend pop up on my YouTube feed one day, and I saw you from there. But, you know, what drove you to get into Tesla?
So I've been into electric cars for a long time. I've been a big fan since probably around the time Tesla started. I would read news articles about some guy bought forklift motors and some old dead batteries and turned his Geo Metro into an electric car, and I thought, man, that would be exciting. And then I read how much work it was and said, not for me. So I did actually at one point own a 2008 Zen Electric. You can look that one up. They made literally thousands of them, and I mean like barely thousands of them before they went out of business. So I'd been following Tesla since before the Model S, and I was excited. I was excited for all the electric car companies, but this was one that was actually moving units. And so when they started building the Shanghai factory, I watched all the drone footage. Every week, every minute of it that came out, I watched all of it. And I was, back then, people said, it's not going to happen, it's a mud field, it's a boondoggle, they're trying to trick investors. So I would count the squares to see how long it's going to be to finish it, but I never published it. And then when Berlin began construction, I started counting the squares. And so finally I kept suggesting this to other channels. Man, you know what you should do? You should count the squares. And all of them said, that sounds like so much work. I said, you should do it before, like a side-by-side weekly comparison of the No way am I doing that much work. So I did it, and it was too much work.
And you've been paying so much attention to detail of everything Tesla, haven't you, for so long? The car's just moved up.
Matt's
moved up.
Matt has permitted us to use his frunk as a studio, and he is making it difficult for me to get my stubby little walkie sticks back to the ground.
Okay. Why is it that people are so addicted to Tesla?
What's different? Well, fandom is not new. There are Mustang clubs and Corvette clubs and Porsche clubs that meet once a year, and there's like tens of people. Okay, so that's a little different. I'll grant you. Well, there are, Apple has a rabid fandom. Those people will line up to get their stuff. They'll pre-reserve and not have meetings. Because why would they have a meetup? Why would you have an Apple meetup? So why is it different? I don't know. It started as a company that was pushing the boundaries, and that's exciting. But every time they do that, they push another boundary, and I think it just draws people in. I think it is an infectious excitement.
Absolutely. You never think that when we first got into it as a car company, you didn't know it was going to become a robotics company.
You didn't know, I mean, in the early days of Model S, you didn't know it was going to be an autonomy company. You certainly, robotics, even stationary storage. When they unveiled that, I looked at it and I said, oh, okay. I'm going to be honest, I don't get it. Yeah. And then for me, the aha moment on the energy was when the Hornsdale Power Reserve accepted Tesla's bid. The bid was 90 days or it's free. Yeah. And they said, you don't have to be the lowest bidder for that to be a good deal. But Tesla wasn't just the winning bidder, they were the best bidder, and we know because 6 months later, a news article came out saying it has paid for itself. We are expanding. What? You saved $100 million in 6 months. Yeah, we did. So good news. So why is Tesla so different? The fans that I meet, the viewers that I meet, are often retired engineers. These are people who've been dreaming of big things their whole life and have been disappointed. And now we're finally looking at not just Tesla, but SpaceX and other companies that are taking leaps ahead of anyone else. When you invent a new technology, everyone will copy it right away. When voice to text was finally cracked, every company was trying to get it. We need voice to text. When one got it, within months, everyone got it. SpaceX landed their first booster 9 years ago. You know who else has landed an orbital class booster since?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Do you feel like that's going to be the same with autonomy? Do you think anyone is going to be capable of doing what Tesla's doing, even in 5-10 years?
Let's imagine that today Waymo magically solves the equation and they can get the humans out of the control room. They're already out of the car, they brag about that, but they're still in the control room. They're still driving. They're just not present. If some company cracked it today, some Chinese company, some startup cracks it 100% today, it will take 3 to 5 years before they can start building cars. That's the production cycle for a car, because you have to have their sensors, their everything in it. It's going to be years. If Tesla doesn't solve it until that company is on the market and fully ramped, Tesla wins.
Yeah.
7 million cars on the road, most of them capable of autonomy. Whenever I try and model the numbers, I show the math, and the numbers I use are low. And people look at them and go, Brian, these numbers are way too pessimistic. And I say, right, because when I put the real numbers in, it's insane. It is beyond insane. I know a lot of people who invested in or before 2019. For those people, they've done very, very well. You know, I know people who put in $500,000 at under $14 a share.
That would have been nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think we're about to see the next wave of AI and robotics coming from Tesla, though, with the same wave of growth? Because if they do solve, autonomy for cars, which it looks pretty blindingly obvious that they will do at this point, and they pop the same technology in robots, again, what robot company is going to be capable of producing and manufacturing at scale like Tesla? No one else is even able to compete on a tiny scale in the world of manufacturing of robots.
So you hit it exactly. We're seeing a lot of beautiful robots. The figure robot is impressive. A lot of these companies have good movement, they have good dexterity, they have all those pieces. It remains to be seen if they have the AI sorted out, but I'm sure they will. So let's just pretend that all the companies are good. Then we get to your point. One of those companies is a manufacturing beast.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine trying to compete. We just saw the quarterly earnings. The average cost of goods sold for a Tesla fleet-wide is $35,000.
Yeah.
35.2 or something like that. And you know that GM and Ford are looking at going, wait, they have cars that are so far below 35 that they negate the cost of the Cybertrucks, S's and X's.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. And it probably means that the Model Y is below $35,000 to make. And they're making cars that are almost as good as the Model Y, but selling them for $60,000 at a loss.
Yeah.
So when it comes to robots, other people will be making $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 bots, and Tesla will be ejecting from the back end of the factory at a ridiculous pace, $10,000 bots, $20,000 bots.
Yeah. With total cost efficiency as well. It's amazing. So before you got into Tesla, what on earth were you doing, Brian?
Who knows, right? So I had spent about 20 years as a comedy writer and doing freelance comedy writing, contract writing, and I engineered some of the biggest viral hoaxes of the era, and I made quite a few appearances on Snopes on accident, and so I wrote satire and all kinds of things for all kinds of people, and then I filled that in with other kinds of writing because you gotta pay the bills, and comedy doesn't always do it.
Yeah, I'm a musician. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Similar field.
Yeah. And so I was doing a lot of that.
You've only actually owned a Model Y for what, a year now, is it?
It'll be, it's a year like this month.
I thought it was around about now. So, obviously beforehand you'd driven Teslas, but you've never, lived with one until last year. So what are your thoughts on it after a year? How much has it improved? What are your thoughts on your FSD now? You're driving around with that?
I had version 11. It was deathly terrifying. It was homicidal. And version 12 is not. Version 12 does some things that annoy me, like lane selection I would do differently. It's not dangerous. It's just not to my taste. Have you ever owned a car that got better after you bought it?
Well, not until they had a Tesla. That's
No.
it. Yeah.
So that alone makes it a world of difference.
Yeah.
The cost to charge it, the fact that you ever get in the car and you got somewhere to be and you look down and you're like, I'm on a quarter tank, I'm not going to make it.
Yeah.
I don't have that in a Tesla because I leave at whatever percentage I desire.
Yeah.
And so their range anxiety for me isn't a thing. And I've done 15,000 miles of road trip in the last year, probably. Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
I've been through 21 states and been 3 trips to California. I mean, it's a lot of driving, and it's easy. And it's so easy because you just put on the autonomy, and after a 12, 14, 15-hour day of driving, you don't need a day to recover. You're just a little sleepy, and you'd like to get to bed.
So if not a Tesla, if you had to choose another electric car, what would it be?
My gosh. The problem is, I don't know. Because as nice as and cheap as the electric part is, the autonomy to me is already more appealing. So I would have to find out who has the second best autonomy. If Tesla's banned tomorrow, or for some reason I literally could not buy one, what would I buy? I don't know. And I've test driven a lot of electric cars from almost every brand. Boy, I guess I would have to look at the autonomy and see who has good autopilot.
Yeah, tough call, isn't it?
It is. It
It's
is.
a long way away for second place, in my opinion, of what a Tesla offers.
Well, and the charging network just works. It
Yeah.
just works. My friend Ryan, I've told this story on other channels. My friend Ryan had a Ford Lightning with Blue Cruise, and he loved it.
Yeah.
And then when he got his Cybertruck, he said, boy, I know the range isn't very good. I've heard the charging network's good. He put in his destination as Chicago, and it populated all of his stops, said you're going to stop here for 10 minutes, you're going to charge up to this. And he looked at it, he said, and he was just, if this works, man. And of course it worked, because that's what it does. And I cannot imagine he could go back at this point.
Yeah.
Because that's just too good.
I think that's it. Once a Tesla's got you, it's got you. How could you possibly move on to anything else? And I love it when people are trying very hard to, give up a Tesla because they're a bit offended by something Elon Musk has said, and they've still got their Tesla a year or two later.
And they're complaining on Facebook. Do you know who that guy is? Well, okay, forget it. I'm going to TikTok. Oh no, my friend. Oh, no. Yeah, the world is full of people that I don't like. But that doesn't
Stop you buying the products.
Well, that
does it?
doesn't.
No.
I can't.
I do believe we've got to round this up because we've been given the cough of despair by Simon.
what
We need
that
to.
was?
We now go. Yeah.
I
we
thought
need
he
to-
was just harassing us generally.
No, just not a general cough. We need
I
to
do
go
want to
finish.
say that I enjoy your work. I enjoy being on your channel.
Thank
I
you very
enjoy
much,
seeing your
Brian.
channel.
Cheers.
This is, I think, my first time on your channel. Though.
It is, yeah. So,
Will's been on my channel a bunch of times because I love his work and
Yeah.
I want to support him. And so if you guys are watching this and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Pretty please, give him some love.
Yeah, vice versa. Obviously, Brian's such a plethora of knowledge about Tesla. So do check out his channel at Futuraza. Really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. Anything of his too. Thanks, Brian. Let's
Yeah,
carry
thanks,
on
Will.
our judging, shall we? Thanks very much.
I'm Will, this is the Tesla Jigsaw. Thank you, Patreons, and thank you for watching. Bye for now.